Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop out here in the heavenly backyard garden. And it is just that right now. It is heavenly out here. It is early June. The daylilies are reaching their peak. The dahlias have started to bloom, but they haven't gotten anywhere near their peak yet. But there's many blooms right now. So what I want to do today is, well, I just want to take you on a tour of the heavenly backyard garden and let you enjoy the scenes that I've been getting here in the backyard. So with that being said, let's go on the tour. The heavenly backyard garden and heavenly backyard astronomy. Some of the daylilies in my first daylily garden over here, as you can see, mixed with zinnias. These zinnias do very well with the daylilies. And every garden has to have a statue of St. Francis of Assisi. Some Gloriosa daisies, sometimes referred to as black-eyed daisies, black-eyed Susans, but these are more of the Gloriosa daisy. Some of the lilies in bloom. This one here is an oldie but a goodie. This is about 30 years old in my garden. This is called Russian Rhapsody. And this beyond it, these yellow guys here, gals, Elba White Grove, a beautiful hardy daylily. Over here I call my armillary garden. And I have some daylilies mixed in with some perennial phlox. These phlox bloom year after year. And they're fragrant in the morning and in the evening, not so much during the middle of the day. There's a daylily right there called Savannah Cabana. Another one over there beyond the armillary, that's called Garden Style. I have a better one of that coming up. Now over here is where I changed the gardens during the winter months. I moved these gardens and the paths that go along with it. And I loaded them up with new loamy veggie mix from soilfree.com. And I tell you what, they're responding very well. I also added other things in here as well. Chicken manure, a little chicken manure, but more so a lot of Milorganite. Also some special daylily fertilizer from Ken Oaks, or Oaks Daylily Farms up in Tennessee. And it's responding very, very well. I added some miniature canna lilies to this garden, and they're doing very well, as you can see. Most of the daylilies in this garden right here are just experiments of mine, cross-pollination, and then bringing them up from seeds, starting these seeds, sprouting the seeds, getting the seeds into seedlings, and the seedlings into plants, and the plants eventually into flowers. Usually for me it takes 2 to 3 years before I get a flower from a seed. But they're looking pretty good. This is one of my favors, not favorite, but favors. Now this one over here, this is an old daylily. It's perhaps in the 1950 vintage. I've had it for over 30 years, and it just blooms beautifully every year. I have 3 or 4 clumps of these now throughout the garden. Something I found out well is echinacea, or coneflowers, do very well mixed in with the companions with the daylilies. Here's one called Imagine Me. Of course, the heavenly backyard garden. For obvious reasons, I call this the fountain garden. I have it surrounded by daylilies. The water portion of the fountain of the base is 8 feet across. This one here is called Soft Summer Breeze. Oh, it's a beautiful daylily. And just beyond it, this pinkish reddish rose color one is called Twisted Whiskers. More daylilies, and beyond that I have some coleus I started from seed. They like a little bit more shade. And in the coleus, I have planted a Christmas poinsettia that I got as a gift from my wife on Christmas. And so I kept it and loved it in the greenhouse. And then in April, I trimmed it back and planted it in the garden. And if I continue to give it proper conditions, it will bloom next Christmas, more or less between Christmas and the month of January. I have a warmer climate here. I'm in zone 9A, but I sometimes do have to protect it from frost. But to get it to bloom, you need to have absolutely no light at night from November in through January. I have my hanging vertical garden here. And notice, I don't like straight lines. Even on my vertical garden, these hanging baskets, they're in waves, as you can see. And over here, we're in the dahlias. Well, I tell you, the dahlias, they're just knocking the socks off of everyone. And you can see why. Look at these things. Beautiful dahlias. I think in England they call them dahlias, but it's D-A-H, so I'm going to say dahlia. Let's take some close-up views of these dahlias. And at the sunnier end of these gardens, I have the daylilies. The dahlias in this location prefer semi-sun, not full sun all day, because it is very intense here at my location, my latitude. I'm at 32 degrees north latitude, so the sun is nearly straight overhead in the summer months. And so ideally, it would be good to give them morning sun, afternoon shade. Now these get afternoon sun and morning shade, but now they're coming out of the shade going into the afternoon sun. More dahlias over here. I just love these things. Once you start growing dahlias, you're hooked. That's all I have to say, is you're hooked. As I mentioned in videos before, and there's the link to one of the videos above, soil preparation for the dahlias is extremely important. They have to have good drainage, good loamy soil as well, with full of our organic material. And at the planting time, they love bone meal. Now these dahlias here are perennial. They'll come back year after year. They don't freeze here, but the problem I have in the wintertime is the cold, wet rains that we get, and that could cause the tubers to rot if the soil is not drained. So this year I did add a lot of sand, mixed sand in with the loamy soil. Hopefully that will help it drain better. But just look at again, they're knocking my socks off. Let's take a close-up view of this one. This one is Ferncliffe's Inspiration. And right above it is Coral Sky. And this dahlia above is called Holland Festival. That's a dinner plate dahlia. And nearby, this one here lives up to its name, Great Hercules, tall dinner plate sized dahlia. You notice I've grown these in tomato cages. It helps protect the plants from toppling over because the heads are so big and large. If they get wet, and they do when it rains, they could break over. So the tomato hoops help hold them up and keep them from breaking over. All right. Here's some dahlias just getting ready to bloom. This one has been blooming all spring so far. This was the first to bloom this year. It's called Boom Boom White. Floral. Big dinner plate dahlia. There's a daylily called Katie Sue Harrington, a joiner daylily. More daylilies here, foxgloves, digitalis, same thing. Here's that other garden style I wanted to show you. This is probably 30 years old. It was introduced by the joiners, inland joiner in particular, back in 1989, and I got it in 1991 or so. So you can do the math. It's about 30 years old in this garden here. And over here is one of my favorites. This is called Christmas Ruby. It's a mid-season daylily. It just started to bloom, and it'll bloom basically for the next 6 weeks. Courting Trouble, that's the name of this. I mean, it's courting beauty if you ask me, but yeah, it's no trouble at all. Love this thing. It's been blooming for about 3 weeks already. It'll probably send up a repeat scape in about 2 or 3 more weeks. Now this is a Savannah holly tree I have right here, and we left this tree standing. We moved back in this house back in 1986, and this year I planted these medium-sized canna lilies around the holly tree, and it's doing very well, as you can see. Or they are. This red one, that's called Dutch Carnival. More dahlias. Apparently I fixed too many gold ones in here, yellows and gold, but they still look great. There's some red and blue ones coming up, but they haven't bloomed yet. Oh, my elephant ears, they're doing very well, as you can see. They like to keep their feet wet though. This guy is called Meteorite. I got a better one on the other side. There's a purplish rose color one called Radicast. This one, beautiful, iridescent almost, called Karma Sangria. Beautiful. American Sunset. Looks like a sunset, doesn't it? I mean, you just gotta love this one here. Great Hercules. Certainly lives up to its name. There's that other meteorite I was telling you about. More daylilies here. This is called Aaron's Whopper. It was one of the first ones to bloom this spring, and it is still blooming. This is already on its repeat scapes, and it'll send up a third scape, three-peat. I believe this one's called Springtime in Savannah. That's where I am. An oldie but a goodie and a favorite of many, including mine. This one's called Dublin Elaine. I believe she lived in central Georgia. Elaine Williams, I think it's named after. Dinner plate side dahlia, bright yellow, called Kevin Floodlight. This is a must-have in all dahlia gardens. It's a knockout. Little angel trumpet tree here, Bugmansia. It'll bloom in July, August, September, October, November. Here's one called Lake Ontario. And some others, as you can see. These coneflowers, or echinacea, they're about 5 years old now. They come back year after year. There's one of my favorite daylilies. It's about 7 years old now. It's called Purple Many Faces. Fits very well with those purple coneflowers. Here's one looking away from me. I got a better picture of it though. I'm going to show it to you right now, but this one's called Boundless Beauty. Another daylily, that one's called Angel Cups. One of the things I noticed this year, I planted a lot of zinnias, and I usually don't see butterflies until early July here, but I'm seeing butterflies already. The red one is Russian Rhapsody. It's about 30 years old in this garden. And right beyond it is Pat Mercer. That's a very old Joiner daylily. It's one of the ones that got them going. A lot of their seedlings came off of that plant right there. Well, not that plant, but that flower. Here's another favorite of many. It's called Orange Velvet. It's a mid-season. It just started to bloom. Orange Velvet. And another little garden over here, up by my vegetables. Called this the Bird Bath Garden. And the telescope's undercover right now. The rain chances are increasing. And in the middle of this bird bath garden, I do have my tiger lilies. They don't bloom until basically the end of June, early July. Maybe middle June. Beyond that, you can see my squash, zucchini, and summer yellow straight neck squash. And next to that are my okra plants that love the heat. I had growing in there broccoli in the wintertime, which hate the heat and love the cool weather. Okra, just the opposite. Hates cool, loves the heat. Yeah, I love okra. Now what I did here is, this is my carrots, and I've been having some wonderful carrots out of this garden here, and they taste so well that I let one go to seed. So that's one plant there that bolted, and I'm going to seed because I want the seeds. And I'll plant these in September, late September, early October, because they love cool weather. Again, not so much the heat. This here is a night blooming lily. So it's a night lily, not a daylily. Citrina is the name of this one. And over here are raised beds for the tomatoes and the cucumbers, and we've been eating tomatoes and cucumbers for the last several weeks now. I am trying to grow some dahlias in pots just to see how well they do, and so far so good. I'm testing these out. Some perennial blue salvia behind them. But there are the, I planted some nasturtiums with the tomatoes and some basil to help ward off diseases. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour. I just get so much joy out of this garden. I call it the Heavenly Backyard Garden because over there I have my telescopes which I peer into the heavens at night, but during the day I have the garden, and the combination of the two results in the Heavenly Backyard Garden. Anyway, I'll be showing you more throughout the summer months of the garden, and the vegetables they're producing as well. I've been picking a lot of tomatoes and cucumbers. I got my okra going right now as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I just hope you enjoyed the tour. See you later, right here on YouTube.